Hey guys, Broheen here from the Gamer Emporium channel, doing Mage class guides for 91 Extreme RT. Thank you 91 Extreme RT for letting me do this again on your channel. I'm going to try to make this as quick and painless as possible. This will be take 2 technically, because I botched the first one pretty bad. So here we go. The spec, Pyromancer, the brand new 2.8 Pyromancer Mage. 61 Pyromancer, fill it up all the way. 3 Harbinger, 12 Stormcaller, that's 3 in Eldritch Knowledge, and on Stormcaller, 5 in Storm Energy, 5 in Cyclogenesis, and 2 in Conductive Medium. So, you guys should know, if you don't know what Conductive Medium is, read your tooltip right here. If you want to read that, go for it. But I'm not going to get too much into buffs. The only 2 buffs you really have to make sure you use and keep up constantly is Countdown. When you cast Countdown on an enemy, you now get Accelerant, which increases damage from the caster by 8%. You also get Searing Bolt, which will explode a Countdown, and then you can reapply it and get that Accelerant back. When you cast a Flame Bolt, you get improved Flame Bolt, so that's between the 2 combined an extra 18% damage. Internalized Charge has a little bit of a different spin on it. No longer consumes your charge at a consistent rate. It takes 50 charge away and just puts a stacking buff of 6 stacks for 30 seconds, increasing damaging ability by 16%. So with those 3 buffs, which you just saw, you can obviously see the potential and how heavy the spec can be. So, and the rotation's not even really that hard. As far as buffs on the table here, basically what you get out of the trees, everything else is just stuff I use. You get Pyromancer's armor, and you get Lightning Charge. That's it. Anything else, you should be using Petrified Room and Archaic Tablets if you have them, and a Crystal if you have it, obviously. And Heat Wave is the other big change. No longer resets the cooldown of Pyromancer abilities, but in fact just reduces the cast time for 15 seconds by 50%. Also reduces mana, which is never an issue with a mage. So 3 cooldowns that you get: Fusillade, Flame Volley, and Fulminate. Those are your 3 heaviest hitting abilities. Should be used on cooldown all the time. The last thing to explain to you is macros, which we have a spam macro, which you can grab. I'm not going to go through them all. I'm just going to put them in the description. You guys can grab them out of there. But key thing to know about the spam macro is that when you're using the spam macro, there should be no reason to manually hit your countdown or your flame bolt. However, if you are using your heat wave macro and just casting fireballs, then you're going to have to maintain improved Flame Bolt by casting a Flame Bolt, or maintain Accelerant on the target by casting a Countdown on it manually, just to keep the buffs up. You don't want to lose those buffs while you're on a Heat Wave for 15 seconds, because that is basically your second way to deal massive damage. So, other than that, Cinder Burst proc macro if you want it, Interrupt macro if you want it, and an AoE macro if you want it, but not really necessary. The Cinder Burst just has a stop casting in it. That's the only significant part of that. So let's take a look at rotation. First thing you're going to do to start off with is you're going to do a main spam. Now this main spam is going to apply your improved Flame Bolt, it's going to apply your Accelerant, and it's going to put Countdown, blow up the Countdown with Searing Bolt, and then reapply it again for a little spike in damage. Once your spam is done and you're starting to hard cast fireballs, you want to make sure you tap Internalized Charge first, then use Fusillade, Flame Volley, then Fulminate. Once those 3 are finished, then you go to the Heat Wave macro and you start hard casting fireballs at 50% of the cast time. So once that's all done, you just go back to spamming, and it gets a little boring at that point, but eventually those 3 things, Heat Wave, Fusillade, Flame Volley, and I guess 4 things, Fulminate, will all come off cooldown, and you'll be able to get another huge spike in damage. Now, Fulminate has a 30-second cooldown on it, where the other 2 have a 1 minute. So if you're on top of it, if you cast your Fulminate right away as it comes off cooldown, then technically it should line up with Flame Volley. You might be a few seconds off here and there between these 2 and Fulminate because of the global cooldown, but what can you do? Either way, not really too big of an issue. So, alright guys, so as for the rotation, check it out. Make sure your Internalized Charge is up pre-combat. As Fireball goes through, reapply your Internalized Charge, start using your cooldowns. Keep your countdown up, keep your flame bolt up, start casting, main casting heat waves. Make sure you get that Cinder Burst in there. Remember, every 6 you gotta refresh your internalized charge. And then once we're at the boring part here, we kind of go back to pretty much the boring part. This is where your DPS is going to drop a little bit, but not too much. Assuming you get a lot of procs. I mean, we're still maintaining 18k. And we have Fusillade about to come off cooldown. And hit it. Cinder Burst, I would say every time while you're in cooldown. Alright, so taking a look at the meter, we're at doing about 19k here. Actually, we're boosting up to about 20. And back down to 19, and you guys get the gist of it. So that's Pyromancer rotation for you. You've seen it twice through. Did the rotation twice through. And then a little some after that. So go try out the spec. Find a practice dummy. You're not going to learn this over the first 5 seconds that you're trying the spec. The rotation is a little bit intensive, but it's not hard. So just keep in mind those 2 buffs. Keep those up. Keep your internalized charge up at all times. And I recommend making a separate key for it like I do, and making a K alert for it, which unfortunately I was not able to show here, but I do have K alert for it. But other than that, manage your cooldowns properly and just blow shit up. So have a good day, guys. Thanks again, 91 Extreme, for letting me do this on your channel again, and you guys have an awesome day. We'll see you on the next Mage Guide. Thanks.